They say time heals all wounds, but what if that's not entirely true? Some moments don't just fade, they carve themselves into our hearts in ways no clock can erase. The last hug between a human and their cat wasn't just a goodbye. It was a revelation, a paradox wrapped in silence. Strange as it may sound, that final embrace held both the sharp sting of loss and the quiet birth of hope. Most people believe farewells are purely painful, but here's the twist: sometimes they leave us with lessons more powerful than the years of companionship that came before. Now, think about it. What if the most heartbreaking goodbye of your life could also become your greatest teacher? What if, instead of closing the door, it opened your eyes to a truth about love, resilience, and the legacy we unknowingly build each day? This isn't about grief for grief's sake. It's about discovering that in the very moment our hearts break, they might also expand. And in that expansion lies a treasure most of us never stop to claim. There was something almost magical about that last hug, a moment that felt suspended in time, as if the clock itself had decided to pause. The cat, with its quiet way of speaking through its eyes, conveyed more than words could ever capture. Anyone who's ever had a pet knows this. They have the power to leave behind memories that never fade. It's like an invisible photograph, etched into your skin, one you find yourself touching without even noticing. The owner remembered the texture of the fur, the calm rhythm of breathing, the way the animal nestled perfectly into their lap, little details that seemed ordinary at the time but became extraordinary once they turned into memories. Funny how we only realize the weight of these small moments when we can't relive them anymore. The bond between them went far beyond routines of food and affection. It was a silent companionship. You know, that friend who doesn't need to speak to understand you? That's exactly what it was. Many times, after a rough day, all it took was the cat lying on the couch with that steady gaze, almost as if it were saying, "I know what you're feeling." That's rare, even among people. Think of it like coming home after a long shift, collapsing into a chair, and realizing the silence around you feels more like loneliness than rest. But with the cat there, that silence turned into comfort. It's in moments like these we learn that real love often hides in the most unassuming gestures. These memories, even though simple, carry the weight of emotional anchors. It's like catching a whiff of a familiar perfume that instantly transports you to someone you love. The heart recognizes it before the brain even reacts. In the same way, the owner held on to tiny snapshots, the cat chasing a dangling string, falling asleep on top of important papers, or sneakily stealing a piece of chicken from the table. Trivial? Maybe. But those little quirks stitch together the tapestry of a shared life. If you've ever lost someone dear, you probably understand, it's not always the big trips or the expensive gifts that stick with you, but the everyday moments that seemed so ordinary when they happened. And perhaps that's what made the last hug so powerful. It gathered all those memories into a single gesture. It wasn't only about saying goodbye, but also about honoring the life they had shared. Like the final scene of a movie, even when it's sad, it carries the beauty of the entire story behind it. The owner held the cat close, and without saying a word, offered silent gratitude for every imperfect, beautiful instant. It was a blend of thankfulness, sorrow, and strangely enough, a kind of peace. And yet, if one pays close attention, this moment hints at something beyond memory itself, the quiet spark of hope that can shine even in farewells. In those final moments, the cat seemed to hold a wisdom that words could never teach. It wasn't about the fading of life, but about the quiet reminder that love doesn't vanish when breath does. The owner felt a strange comfort, almost like a soft whisper telling them that endings aren't just endings, they're transitions. Think of it like a sunset. It marks the close of a day, yet it also hints at the promise of tomorrow's light. That farewell hug wasn't only about loss. It carried within it the seed of hope, an assurance that affection endures even after silence takes its place. The cat, though fragile, offered lessons that books or lectures rarely touch upon. With every shallow breath, it reminded the owner that affection isn't measured in years but in the intensity of shared presence. Imagine visiting someone in the hospital. You don't remember the sterile smell or the uncomfortable chair, but you remember the warmth of the hand you held. That's the kind of comfort the cat gave, an unspoken language of love that didn't need grand gestures. It was a gentle nudge to value the present, because the present is where love truly lives. What's fascinating is how such a painful goodbye could ignite a deeper understanding of resilience. The owner realized that grief and hope can coexist, like two sides of the same coin. It's the same paradox we see when a seed must break apart underground before it sprouts into something new. That last embrace, though soaked in tears, carried the potential of transformation. It was as if the cat's spirit whispered, "Don't be afraid to feel. Let this love guide you forward." And suddenly, hope stopped being an abstract word and became a living force, breathing in the space the cat left behind. That sense of hope, born in the most unlikely hour, started to reshape how the owner looked at life itself. They understood that every ending carries within it a hidden gift, the push to treasure what remains, to pour love into others while there's still time. It's the same lesson people find after surviving a storm or an illness: fragility makes life luminous. The cat's farewell wasn't just a closing chapter, it was a gentle opening towards something beyond grief. And in that quiet shift, the story began to point not only backward, to what was, but forward, to the legacy of love still unfolding. Long after the last hug, what truly remained wasn't the silence of loss but the echo of love that filled the owner's days. The cat had woven itself into every corner of their life, from the way the mornings felt warmer to the quiet evenings that were never really lonely. Even in absence, its presence lingered. This is the strange beauty of love. It outlives the body and takes shape in memory, habit, and even in the way we treat others. The owner found themselves speaking softer, being more patient, almost as if the cat's gentle spirit had trained their heart without them noticing, and it didn't stop there. Friends, neighbors, even strangers online who had seen pictures or stories about the cat felt touched too. It's funny how one small creature can ripple outward and leave marks on people who never even petted it. That's the hidden legacy pets carry. They teach us empathy in ways that books and theories can't. Think of it like this: when someone loses a pet and shares the story, suddenly dozens of others remember their own experiences, and healing starts to happen collectively. Love multiplies when it's shared, even in the form of grief. The owner began to realize that saying goodbye didn't erase the bond, it deepened it. The love became less about possession and more about inspiration. The cat became a symbol of kindness, reminding them daily that every act of care, no matter how small, has the power to outlast us. Maybe that's why so many communities honor animals through shelters, foundations, or even small traditions at home. By carrying forward the lessons of loyalty and tenderness, we keep their spirit alive. And in this way, love stops being just a memory and becomes a mission. That's the paradox hidden in farewells. What feels like an ending can turn into a celebration. The owner discovered that the cat's story wasn't a closed book but an open invitation to live with more compassion, to give without measuring, to love without fear of losing. It's a reminder that grief, when embraced, becomes gratitude. And gratitude, in turn, builds bridges to others who also need comfort. So while one chapter had closed, a larger story was just beginning, one that reached beyond a single bond and into the lives waiting to be touched next. So now the question is, what will you do with the love that's still in your hands? It's easy to read a story like this and feel the weight of emotion, but the real challenge is turning that emotion into action. Will you choose to slow down and notice the quiet gestures of those around you? Will you give the people and pets in your life the kind of attention that creates memories worth holding on to? Or will you let routine steal away the beauty of the present, only realizing its value when it's gone? The truth is, love was never meant to be stored, it was meant to be shared. That's the legacy the cat left behind, and it's a legacy waiting for you to carry forward. Maybe it means calling someone you've been avoiding, forgiving a mistake that's been haunting you, or simply spending 5 extra minutes today with the ones who depend on you. Small actions, yes, but they're the kind that build unforgettable stories. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to let farewells transform into beginnings? Are you willing to see endings not as empty space, but as fertile ground for something greater? The answers lie not in what you've lost, but in how you choose to live from this moment on. And if this touched you, don't just keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join a community that believes in turning even heartbreak into wisdom. Because the next story might just be the one that changes how you see love forever.